With booming populations and a growing taste for Western foods, are China and the Middle East the El Dorado for European food exports? Food Navigator put the question to two experts.
I think China is a market which cannot be easily ignored in any sector or industry, but particularly for the food and drink industry. Over the years we've worked with this market, and this is 60 plus. We've seen rising demand in imported food and drink, and particularly over the last 2 years, all of the Chinese buyers that we are in regular contact with have been asking us for protein-rich products. The emphasis is on imported branded seafood products, high-protein dairy products, but also on some of the new alternative protein products. Some of the alternative protein products we're talking about have been in Chinese culinary tradition for many, many years. The insects as snacks, or the soy-based drinks. So we are now seeing the marriage of that tradition of consumption with the new emerging trend for healthy eating.
First of all, it's a market of 55 million people. It's growing in terms of population, and it's growing in terms of per capita consumption of meat and dairy, which is very much a traditional meat and dairy market. So in that sense, and affluence is growing as well, protein is really key to the diet, and we see very exciting prospects both in growth and product for the market going forward.
Both Becker and Mitchell agree that European manufacturers have a competitive advantage over other exporting countries, but for different reasons. While Chinese consumers appreciate Europe's traditional quality, for Middle Eastern countries, Europe is synonymous with innovative food tech.
We recently did some research, and European exporters of protein products generally come up ahead of all of the other regions, while the Americans are there leading in terms of advanced technology. That's how it is being perceived. European manufacturers are always respected in terms of provenance and quality.
I think Europe globally, and certainly within the Middle East, the big area of competitiveness is around innovation. And the Middle East badly needs systemization, innovation and know-how. There's no shortage of capital, and in that context there's great opportunities for companies in Europe to joint venture with local companies across the GCC and indeed develop very sustainable business models in that context.
While some of the barriers to doing business in both regions may seem daunting at first, there are ways to get a foot in the door.
I think it's very important a concerted effort is made by anyone who wants to enter the GCC market. It's not for the faint-hearted in the sense that it's not a one visit and go home and the strategy is complete. It's a market that needs a lot of face time. The culture is very much face-to-face, and it's very family orientated, so decision making can be quite protracted. So you need to do the hard yards, you need to be on the ground, and you need to make the local commitment. But the rewards are there if you do that.
Regulatory remains the main thing to consider. I wouldn't call it an obstacle, but obviously whether there is a market access for those particular products, whether the products are compliant with China's GB standards. These are China's Guobiao national standards. There are 5,000 of those, and they're still in the process of revising them, updating them. So essentially it's like a long-term race for an organization like us to keep up with yet the latest revised standards. So keeping track of the ever-evolving regulation and the food safety legislation which emerged after the melamine scandal in 2008 is probably the one thing as a single big one we at the China Brittle Business Council can help with. We've been in the market working with UK-based companies for over 60 years. So this is one of the support that we can extend to manufacturers going there.